Hello and welcome to part 2 of our special Harry Potter special here on It's All Geek to Me, the pop culture chat show where three friends with varying degrees of nerd knowledge get together each week to have a chat about all things geek. My name is Rich Gittins, and joining me this week and every week, it's my buddy Chris Lumb. Accio Lummy! Hey up, Lummy. How you doing, son? You all right?
Oh, I'm all right. I'm just drinking out of my Quidditch cup there.
You
caught me.
I like it. Nice. You got yourself...
Massive Potter fan.
Yeah. So Lummy, I mean, you weren't going to be here this week. You are our normal... There's a trio of us that present the show each week, and you weren't going to be here. You're going to have a gig, but it got cancelled. So I'm going to come along. And you've got a correction for me, because on the part 1 I said that you hadn't seen anything of Harry Potter, but that was false, wasn't it?
I've seen them, yeah. I even saw the original film when it came out, and I saw it in a screening where there was an intermission and a load of school kids in. You had to wait for half an hour to watch the second bit, and they're like, "What's going on?"
Oh wow!
So
it's quite a long film, though, isn't it? It's for little kids. It's quite a long film. Okay, well, fair enough. So I apologise, but you haven't read the books, is that right?
No, I've got one of them here, and I'm going to read that right now.
Brilliant. Well, fantastic. Well, you read that. We'll bring out Webby. So, Accio, Webby. Come on out, Webby.
Oh,
look at that. Mystic and magic.
Magic tit. A magic
How
tit.
you doing, Webby? You all right?
Yeah, I'm all right. How are you?
I'm okay. Thank you very much. How's your week been? What have you been up to?
Oh, man, I've been trying to get healthy. Trying to stop smoking. Trying to get a bit fitter. Trying to eat a bit better.
Okay. And how's that going? When did you start that? I mean, we're on Monday. So
I started 2 weeks ago.
You started 2 weeks ago. Nice. And how's that going? Are you able to run any extra miles?
No, not yet. But I am cutting down the smoking a hell of a lot, so that's good. So,
fantastic. That's good. That's good.
Smoke, kids.
There you are. You should leave that to the end, like those old He-Man cartoons where we have our moral or our lesson at the end of the story. Well, I think she's sat there waiting, our resident Harry Potter expert. It's the lovely Natalie Smeaton. Accio Nat.
Hey. I'm
You're
good.
right.
How are you?
Very well. Thank you very much for asking.
Excellent.
Now, Natalie,
yes.
It was your birthday yesterday.
It was my birthday yesterday. Yes. Thank you.
Not long after Harry Potter's birthday, because he would have been
the day
40.
after. Yeah.
He would have been 40 the other day.
Oh.
And not long after Bill and Fleur's wedding as well. So I'm going to raise a toast in my goblet of juice, my Harry Potter goblet of juice. So thank you very much for our present, Nat.
You're very welcome. If I'd have known Chris was coming, I'd have got Chris one, but I thought he was like doing other shit. So I did.
It's all right. Don't worry about it.
Gigging with the rich and famous.
I appreciate just gigging with you in person, that and stuff. You don't need to give me any presents for our friendship.
Quidditch what?
It's a Quidditch cup. That's good.
Can I just say, all the Harry Potter stuff I've got with me is not mine. It's all Terry's. She got it all. I had a quick whip round. I found all sorts. I'm like, well, not all sorts, but yeah.
Well, what have you been up to, Nat, since we last saw you a month ago? A mere month ago.
It's just a month, isn't it? That's mad. You know what? It's been very hot. Didn't cope with that very well. Felt like one of the, which film is it? Is it the Goblet of Fire when it's super, super hot and then the Dementor is in the tunnel?
No, it's Order of the Phoenix. Order of the Phoenix, where he's like...
You could say anything to Chris right now and he'd be like,
Order of the Phoenix, where he's lying outside waiting to hear what the news is going to be outside Uncle Vernon and... outside
I thought it was Chamber of Sasquatch, that one.
Oh,
Chris, the one with the 5 dragons and the...
We hit Lummy with a confundus charm earlier.
Pretend I don't know anything about them. And
okay, let's pretend.
Right. I'll be your Harry Potter experiment for the evening.
Crikey.
I don't remember. None of these movies have got John Candy in them, have they? So
you're going to struggle with this, Lummy. He's got himself a wand, though. Look at that.
He has got a wand. Bless him.
He's got a short, stubby wand there, Lummy.
The pen wand.
It's a magic wand. It turns into a
pen. You can write with it.
Away. Can you magic your attitude away with
I've seen them do that with images.
That's when they're taking the thoughts out, Lummy. There's lots of that coming up in this, actually. And that's where we start off. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Feel free to leave a comment down below. We are
don't know
all
why I just
very
clapped.
much. You can just
Got
carry on
excited.
interrupting if you want, guys.
Got it,
We're
man, I
very
just
much,
clapped for no reason.
very
Oh,
much.
cheers.
Like I'm ready.
You said we can interrupt. Oh, lovely. Thank you.
Nobody said that you could interrupt. Ladies and gents, welcome to the show. Feel free to leave a comment down below. We're all about creating a community here, and I think we might have a few guests and a few viewers from some of the Harry Potter groups. All very lovely people, by the way. Thanks for inviting me and accepting our invitations, our request to be part of your groups this week. Thank you very, very much. Now, last time we were here, we got up to the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Took a while.
Yeah, it did, didn't we? That's why we're starting a little bit earlier tonight, because we've got a lot of material. Now, we may not get to the Deathly Hallows or to complete the series, but we will have a part 3 where we will be looking at the Fantastic Beasts films, Cursed Child, and we might be starting them off with the Deathly Hallows, depending on how far we get tonight, because the Goblet of Fire is where we start off, and that up until this point, is the thickest book. It's the biggest book by far.
Yeah.
And certainly there is a change of tone to these. Now, what do you guys think about the Goblet of Fire? Anything that strikes you about it? Any differences between the book or the film that you think are particularly striking?
I've got to say, can I step in here? I actually remember seeing this one. I loved it. I did like this film. It's the one with all the challenges, isn't it? And the
It is
underwater and all that business. Yeah, I like this one.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, brilliant.
yeah.
And that is why our viewers come here. It's that insightful, specific knowledge.
Oh, hello.
Oh, wow. It's like a Dementor had just crossed your screen there, Nat.
Blackout.
Crikey. Wowzers. A
Hey,
little
you
bit
Bill.
of
Hey, you
Peruvian,
Bill, Nat.
Oh, we've got
Peruvian blackout powder.
Pop
Not
Not Broth.
Broth. Welcome to the show.
Hey there.
first Twitch comment, and I know nought about Harry Potter.
Well, there is
Well,
plenty to learn. You and Lummy, you can sit down. This is our Harry Potter class. Big
Thank
T
you.
Moore.
Thank you,
Welcome
Big T
to
Moore.
the show, Big T. Lovely to hear from you. So we're looking at the Goblet of Fire, and there is very much a different change, even from the way it starts.
Yeah.
In the book, he starts at his home with Uncle Vernon and Dudley and his Aunt Petunia, whereas in the films he doesn't. He starts off at the Dursleys and at the Weasleys, and they're getting ready for the Quidditch World Cup. Now, this is the first time we get to see wizards from other countries. It's the first, because we're very much used to seeing, wizards from England who are sort of hidden away in their little pockets in their little communities. But now we see the wizards from from all over, the Bulgarian wizards, the Irish wizards. How do you think it was portrayed in the film compared to the book? Because I know the book went into far more detail.
I think it was always going to be a big thing, wasn't it, to try and do though? Sorry, Webby. I'll let you.
All right. We're just gonna
Sorry,
comment
go.
on the detail. Yeah, there's more details in the book.
Yeah, there is. But I mean, how are you going to film that with as much detail as there was in the book? That's my question, because it was huge, wasn't it? Like when I read the book, I couldn't imagine how they would create it. So I personally don't think they did a bad job. And you know my feeling about the films. I thought that they did. Yeah. I think that was a big ask.
It's a huge ask to put together this film. Like I said, it's the biggest so far. There's so much information into it. You've got all the things with Spew, where Hermione's trying to set up the committee for being able to save house elves and get house elves rights and things like that. I mean, all of that was just obliterated out of the film. I mean, I don't know if you know that it was Mike Newell was the director of the fourth film, and he was taken over from Alfonso Cuarón, who Mike Newell had never read a single Harry Potter book, and he'd never seen any of the films.
You can tell, am I right, guys?
Well, quite actually, you can, Lummy, because he comes very much from a background of comedy. But what he wanted to do was he wanted to make this the first dark Harry Potter film. And then Alfonso Cuarón came along and went,
Martin. Gittins has got a lot to say.
Webby, who?
I'm waiting.
Alfonso Cuarón came along and said, you might want to have a look at my film first. And Mike Newell looked at him and was like, oh, yeah, yours is a really dark film. He just hadn't seen any of the films, to the point where during the first task where the dragon... So in the book, that's all very much takes place in the arena, whereas in the film, it goes all around the Hogwarts grounds, all around the grounds of the castle. What he wanted it to do was to fly over the Forbidden Forest and torch the entire Forbidden Forest,
Yeah.
which would have made no sense. Yeah, right.
Wow.
Because it's the Forbidden Forest is crucial, not only in for the rest of that story, but in books 5, 6, and 7 as well.
They kind of need that. They kind of
yeah,
need that.
exactly. He
Do
just
you know what I mean?
had no clue. What about you, Webby?
concept.
What do you think?
Well, the fourth film, the hair's different. They've all got long hair, haven't they? They've all got like,
Slightly
Very
longer hair.
long
You're
hair.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're all.
yeah.
I mean, they don't mention it. I mentioned it before. The pube thing. There's definitely pubes going on, but it was just they stay away from that. They didn't put that in there. So they're all there's the stirrings of love interests, isn't there, with the big the winter ball, is it?
With the Yule Ball.
Yule
yeah.
Ball.
Yule Ball, yeah. Where they're all trying to get off with each other.
So it's where we first, So it's where we first find out. So it's where you've got that kind of will they, won't they with Ron and Hermione, but kind of Hermione ends up hooking up with Victor Crumb,
and she ends up being beautiful, even though she's already beautiful. Yeah, what I said last
now
time.
exactly. Now those of you who didn't see part 1, there is this thing, isn't there, that in the books there is a real transformation with Hermione in the books where she's almost unrecognizable when she comes down those stairs. She's got buck teeth, she's got really frizzy hair. Yeah, whereas actually, you know, she's an attractive lady kind of throughout this series, and the transformation isn't quite as big. By the way, I was commenting on how lovely and welcoming and warm and kind you all are on the Harry Potter forums and groups on Facebook. You are, but there are a few individuals who have this weird obsession, men in their 40s, with Emma Watson when she was 10. Guys, what is wrong with you? It's just a bit. Like, most of you are so lovely. You're buying and selling and trading your Harry Potter merchandise, and you're showing the things that you've made and you've crafted, and it's wholesome as fuck. And then there's the odd bloke who's just like, Emma Watson, look at how old was she when she was 16? Which of the films am I allowed to touch myself to? It's weird. It's weird. It's creepy.
Yeah, I would have thought a film full of kids would attract a lot of paedophiles. I mean, go figure.
No. I think it's really important to say that not everybody who watches Harry Potter is a paedophile.
Whoa, I never said that.
Well, I just think it's important
to clarify
this.
Look, how can kids?
But it's certainly true that most paedophiles do have an interest.
Oh my lord! Yeah,
we've all got glasses on, Big T Marcus, Harry Plopper with his glasses.
Yeah, because the glasses thing, innit?
So go on.
There's a load of differences. I mean, one of the big differences, we're jumping ahead a little bit. Once the challenges start in the book, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. It's been a while since I read it, but in the film,
spoilers.
What's it called? Neville. Neville is the person that gives Harry the gillyweed, isn't it? That he discovers helps him breathe underwater. But in the book,
it's Dobby.
Yeah.
So Dobby, they've just sacked Dobby off for like 5 films. He's only in 2 of them.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, you're absolutely right.
But my point is, but when you get to that bit where I know it's again a couple of books ahead, but where we lose Dobby in the movies, it takes all that emotional weight out. You haven't seen him since the second fucking film,
and then suddenly appears.
Yeah.
You know,
no, I get that. The thing about that change that I did really enjoy, and a few things that he did do, Michael, in that particular version of the book in the film, was that he did give Neville more of a prominent role, and then that kind of plays into that character arc of Neville, where he is badass in the 7th one. I mean, when he comes through that portrait in the 7th, coming into the Hog's Head.
Oh my god!
With Ariana, and he's like all scarred, and he's got long hair, and his clothes and his robes are ripped, and he's he's got a cut mark where they've been like. They joke that it looks like they've been sharpening their knives on his face and things like that. It really does complement that character arc that Neville goes on. And so I was quite grateful that they allowed him to have these moments within the film series. But you're right, I really miss Dobby, and I'm not sure if it's because they made Dobby so annoying in the second one
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, they did
definitely-
Jar Jar Binks him a
definitely-
bit, didn't
Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
in there for the kids.
Yeah.
Jar Jar Binks nearly popped out of my mouth exactly the same time. That
Yeah.
because that's exactly what they did. I mean, it's a kids'
Yeah.
film. They don't need more shit in it to attract kids.
No,
what they need
no,
is less
exactly.
stuff to attract paedophiles by the look of it. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I'll tell you what,
I
though,
don't
this
know what's
film,
going on.
it does start dark, this one, doesn't it? It starts dark, and then it's dark in the middle, and then it's dark at the end.
Yeah.
My God. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It starts with a death, and then it finishes with a death and the world's worst wizards coming back.
Is
So
this
like-
the one
and then
where the
nobody-
milkman? Is this the one where the milkman gets killed at start?
It's the
not,
caretaker.
it's a caretaker. Yeah. So that's really interesting. So we go to the we're first nice one. We're first introduced to the Riddle House, basically, and old Tom, who's the caretaker, who has been treated really badly by the community because he was blamed for the deaths of the Riddles. When actually it was Voldemort. It was going back and finding his father and just killing all the family, and because he's so ashamed.
Also, as we follow the caretaker up the stairs into the house, and he starts to hear the noises, and you see the snake go past, you see that Voldemort is pretty much he's doing all right. He's getting back up to strength. He's ordering people about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's sort of very much a real threat again. Because in the
no.
third one,
I mean, you don't see him at all. You see the back of a chair, and you see
Yeah,
Peter
yeah,
Pettigrew,
yeah,
and
go
you
like
see Nagini. And that is what
Yeah,
you hear.
yeah.
He's still quite feeble at that point, but obviously he still
Yeah,
provokes a lot of fear amongst
from
his
the past
followers.
two movies. In the third film's all about Sirius Black and the threat of him, the prisoner of Azkaban. Obviously, you're led to believe, if you've never read it before, that is the person. That's
He's the biggest
the
threat.
bad guy in that
Yeah.
book. And in the second book, Voldemort's not in it. The second film is not really in it. It's all about the opening of the Chamber of the Secrets and using things by proxy.
In that.
Pardon?
Well, it's where you get introduced to the first Horcrux. So I mean, arguably, it is where you first see Voldemort.
Yeah, but he's not.
You get to
he
see a
doesn't
part of
make
his
an-
soul.
He don't make an appearance in it. You know
No,
what I mean?
no,
You don't
no.
see him in the flesh.
I've got a question for you, potheads. That is what fans are calling it, potheads. Is there any part of the castle that you don't see that's in the books that's not in the films?
Yeah, the Slytherin
question, that.
dungeons. You don't see the Slytherin dungeons. You don't see the Ravenclaw tower. You don't.
Hufflepuffs.
Yeah, but let's
Puffs,
face it, right?
don't.
In the book, that's another
The
massive
kitchens.
difference.
You don't see the kitchens.
Never see the kitchens.
In the books, though, you've got quite a lot of time devoted to the other houses in Hogwarts, but in the films, it's all about Gryffindor and Slytherin.
Yeah,
There's basically all Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw action.
Yeah, you're
Not till
right.
the end, really,
Yeah.
is there? You're
Yeah,
right.
you're
Yeah.
right.
They
When
even
the
got
Horcruxes
sigil for the
come into play.
They even got Ravenclaw's sigil wrong, and it's really pissed a few people off because
Yeah.
their sigil is an eagle.
Yeah.
And eagles have black claws, which is where Ravenclaw comes from, dark claw. But
Yeah.
out of sheer, I don't know, maybe they thought people would be confused. All the sigils, all the iconography that's to do with Ravenclaw has a fucking raven on it.
Right. I wasn't aware of that actually.
Yeah,
That's
it's
interesting.
It's not that literal. It's
That's
not.
interesting. Yeah. So there are some areas of the castle that you don't see, but I think the other thing about the fourth, so the things that you miss, like the whole thing with spew, and
The giant squid.
Giant squid, but also what they do introduce to the film, which I think is a mistake, is they introduce Barney Crouch Jr. really early. So basically all the way through they're going, who is it that's done this? Who's the bad guy in this? We don't know who the bad person is. We don't know who that person who is Voldemort by proxy, as Nathan was talking about in the other ones. So that's what we have with the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher in the first one. It's what we have with the book in the second one, and the basilisk. So rather than having this mystery, and it is very much like an Alfred Hitchcock mystery, the fourth one is, what they've done is introduce the bad guy right at the start. So in the book, it is just Peter Pettigrew and Voldemort and Nagini, whereas in the film, it's Pettigrew, Nagini, and you see David Tennant there as Barty Crouch Jr. doing his tongue thing that they added for some strange reason as well.
Yeah.
So it kind of spoils that reveal at the end that it was him that was doing that.
if he's not going to lick his lips like that, how are we meant to know he's evil?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Jesus.
English accent.
Use your
That's
brain,
what Chris
Gittins.
does all the time.
Telling
you he's evil.
What's the what did you say about a giant squid? Where's that in it?
There's a
It's in the
giant
lake.
It's not in
squid
the
in a
film.
lake.
Yeah, there's a,
In the lake?
In the
Yeah,
lake.
and when you're in
And
the
it-
Slytherin Gryffindor,
It's-
when you're in the
it's dungeon.
Slytherin
Common
dungeon,
room
you can
dungeon.
see it going, like you can see, you know it's going
You're under
past.
the lake. The Slytherin dungeon is underneath the lake. The other thing that they did is the films introduce the two schools that came over. Is it Borbaton and Durmstrang and Bobaton? Bobaton, sorry. They made them single-sex schools where they're not in the books.
Mm.
They're mixed schools. So it's
Got-
subtleties like that.
You got an interesting comment from Martin here. Hang on. I work straight from Avon, and one of my regular customers, David.
Awesome.
Wow.
Oh yeah, he's in the stream.
Brilliant.
As well,
Yeah,
that
he
guy.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
That's
Some have got
amazing.
a few others in store.
Nice. I like David Bradley. He's brilliant, and he is the perfect Filch as well.
Oh my god, yeah, yeah.
He's brilliant. Like you feel like he smells a piss when you're watching him. Like, you
But
can
yeah,
always-
when you watch him, even though he's such he's such a dislikable character, you still get upset when he thinks his hat's
with
dead.
Mrs. Norris.
Yeah, and you still feel a bit sorry for him, like when.
It's a squib. I mean, you've got to feel sorry for him because he's.
But what a
been-
brilliant piece of acting! Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you know what a squib
It's
is?
a brilliant
Lummy?
piece of
Do you wanna
writing
explain
though
that?
as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what a
true.
squib is, Lummy? You got a giant squid, and then you got a squib. We don't want to get confused, Lummy.
A squib is a person who's born into a magical family but has no magical powers.
Yeah,
They're
they're
kind
not
of a
firing
fucking
properly.
Is
failure.
that real? Are you taking the piss?
No,
No,
it's
that's
real.
what a squib is.
True.
Caretaker.
What's a
at
muggle?
A muggle is a non-magical person. We're muggles, Lummy.
You're a muggle.
yeah, I am. Yes, I am.
yourself.
Yes, I am. So yeah, so they kind of.
I wish
So
it
they
was
kind
simple
of.
as that. I don't think I'd be a muggle. I think I'd be a mudblood.
Would you?
I'd be a-
Ooh.
yeah, I would.
maybe.
I thought I was
That
just
feels more
checking.
true to
Why,
my background.
I
You know
was
what
just-
I mean?
Go
I
on.
was just checking. I thought that David Bradley guy had died. I don't think
No,
he
he's
has.
not dead yet.
No. Whoa, I like that. Not yet. See,
No, I'm sure I read that he died.
Give him a chance.
But he's not.
He's,
No, still all right.
Yeah, he's in loads of stuff, but he always looks. I don't know if it's clever makeup or what, but he always looks at death's door. If you think about him in Game of Thrones,
He's in Afterlife, isn't he, as his dad as well?
Yes.
Did he die?
Yeah,
Did
he's
yeah.
brilliant.
he die in that?
Yeah, he did. That's
Yes,
where you're
he
getting
did.
confused,
Yeah,
Lummy.
maybe.
It
Died in
was
Game
so
of
good.
Thrones as well, mate.
Yeah,
So,
so that's-
Stop dying everywhere.
kind of steal
He's
Sean
going,
Bean's
yeah, it's for
crown.
Sean Bean's throne. Yeah, absolutely.
He'll never. He'll never.
So we see lots of changes in Goblet of Fire between the books and the films. What's your favorite? What would be your favorite? I tell you actually. Go on, yeah. What would be your favorite Triwizard challenge?
Oh,
Try was a challenge.
So you've got trying to get
That's
the egg
tricky.
from the dragon. You've
Yeah,
got trying
dangerous.
to rescue your friend from the bottom of the lake. It's
dangerous.
the mer people and all the other creatures in the lake, which I think they filmed brilliantly. By the way, I think it looked awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, Daniel Radcliffe must have spent about 60 hours underwater over the period of filming that scene.
I think I'd like
to
You've
have a
got
go-
the maze.
Didn't
Not
age
the
his
maze.
skin, though, did it?
I think
No.
I'd like to have a go at the underwater one because I love the bit where Crumb comes flying past and he's half a shark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like-
Yeah.
I'd like to have
Yeah.
a go at that.
His
Yeah.
transfiguration has gone wrong, hasn't it?
The underwater one's the best. It's got to be on it. It's got to be that. Because I mean, I'd say one of you guys.
Oh, cheers,
Oh,
Lummy.
No, one of you.
Yeah, exactly. Who would you, if you had to, who would you say about the three of us, Lumb?
Save that.
I'd
Fuck
probably
you.
save Nat as well.
I'd probably save Nat just to fuck you guys.
How
Even
could
though
you make
we've
a
been best
choice?
friends.
How
I'm
We've
more
could you
been
likely
make
to
best
get
friends for
some,
25 years, nearly 26 years actually now.
I think I'd
And,
probably
I'd
more
save
likely
myself.
to get some romantic compensation from Nat if I saved her, you know what I mean? Might owe me a favour.
You don't have to save me for that, Nathan. You know that.
Crikey, do get your minds out the gutter. Crikey.
Hey, you muggles.
Yeah.
So,
I
I think
I
I'd
think
go for
I'd be
the
too
maze.
scared. See, no, that Underwater one, you might drown, too scared. The maze, it's going to kill you, mate.
Right, but a dragon is going to be all right.
You've got your.
If you get the
gills for the underwater one. What was that he had? He had something.
So that's he had
Gillyweed.
Gillyweed, yeah.
But each person who did the task took a different approach to surviving underwater. So one of them
what happened with Fleur? Something
shark.
happened with Fleur, and I can't remember what it was, but it didn't go right, and she couldn't make it in the end.
Yeah, and then because Harry ends up saving his sister.
Yeah, exactly. So Cedric does the bobblehead. Bobblehead, and Crumbs goes wrong slightly.
As well, it's probably different.
No, you don't see what Fleur does. You don't see what Fleur does in the film at all. And it actually is quite low on detail, but you know that Cedric did the bubblehead, and Crumb did a transfiguration into a shark, but it went wrong. So he only turned into half a shark. But it was good enough for him to do the and then obviously, and that is where they gave Neville that much bigger part in the film and kind of took it away from Dobby.
The thing is, though, right now I think about it, turn him into half a shark, right? Depending on which half, you're going to get a different result.
Well, that's, if you were going to go out with a mermaid, if you were going to marry a mermaid, would you want top half fish or bottom half?
No, that's not what I'm on about. I'm on about the logistics of moving through water like a shark. Ideally, you want to turn your entire body into a shark, because if you just have the front half, you've got a top heavy half, haven't you, with no tail to power it. And if you just a tail
that's a good point.
And flimsy
feet, a tail and a man at the front, it's probably going to knock you up. Like you'd be going all over the bloody place. I don't know.
Always swimming up.
That's a good point, though.
When we're picking this thing, are we the age of Harry Potter and that? So I'm just thinking you could go have a bath with that Myrtle woman.
Myrtle.
Yeah. When he's up,
I'd do that. I'd go up and egg with her.
But she's really annoying, Lummy.
That's not a task. That's like a pre-task task.
She was also the actress who played her was like 35 when they filmed that. She was the only one that was. You're changing your mind now. You found out she was a grown-up. You sick fuck. Jesus, Lummy.
I'm only kidding. I'd jump in lake. I'd jump in
lake.
Yeah,
I think I'd have to go with
just
one
to
of the
cool
dragons.
yourself down by the sounds of it. You go with one of the dragons.
But one of the nice dragons, not the Hungarian horntail.
What the annoying fucking underwater pixie things that keep trying to grab people?
Yeah, Grindelows.
Grindelows.
Don't want any of that.
And so the thing I don't like about the fourth one, and unfortunately it's a criticism of Michael Gambon, who I love and I think is a brilliant Dumbledore, but having just gone through all of the books again since the last show, it struck me that Dumbledore is constantly referred to as speaking calmly, being peaceful. Even when there are angry moments, he's really calm until the end when he bursts into the Defense Against the Dark Arts, Moody's office, and finds Barney Crouch Jr. there. And that is where it's described something along that Dumbledore exuded a ferocity that scared Harry and he'd never seen before, with a fierceness in his blue steely eyes. Whereas that isn't a thing at all in the films, because he's like that all the way through. It's not calm. Like, so when he reads the Harry Potter's name out the goblet, it's Harry Potter, and then he runs down to the dungeon and he grabs him by the robe. None of that in the book. He's really calm, really peaceful. Whereas at the end, Michael Gambon in the book, Dumbledore then explodes at Barty Crouch Jr., and that is where you see this real, juxtaposition. Whereas in the film, you lose all of that because Dumbledore's angry throughout it. Yeah,
that's a really good point, actually, because we don't see how dangerous Dumbledore really is until he's in the Ministry of Magic and he's facing Voldemort.
Exactly, and that's
in the
whole
films.
book later. Yeah.
Was this the first one that? Was this the first one that he was in as Dumbledore? Is this where he took over?
No. He was the second one he came in as.
Was it the second one?
Didn't he die for the first one, Richard?
No.
I think he's in 2, isn't he?
I think he's in 2.
I might be wrong. I mean, it don't matter. But my point was going to be that I don't think that's a Michael Gambon. I don't think that's a Michael Gambon fault. I think that's a director's fault, because I'm pretty sure that Michael Gambon, being an actor, is perfectly capable of not seeming angry and not shouting.
He did,
but I also think he did do 2.
I think
he was the first one he came in at. So, but also as an actor, as we all know, that Michael Gambon is perfectly capable of saying my character wouldn't do this.
You said the director didn't even.
But that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I do think it's a director's issue. But
so you might have said, Gambon, what are you doing?
I know, but Gambon at that point is the torch holder for the character, so he is more informed than the director at that point. So we were talking the last time that Alan Rickman, J.K. Rowling had told him one thing about, and actually I know what it is because she revealed it in an interview, whereas he took it to his grave. But it was that he was in love with Lily, Harry's mum. But she didn't tell anybody else that. So all the way through filming, whenever they tried to make Alan Rickman do something he didn't want to do, he'd be like, well, I don't think my character would do that because of the thing that Joe told me about. And it was something completely unrelated, but it was just his get-out clause for anything he didn't want to do.
Somebody out there that does a worse Alan Rickman.
Oh, I do a terrible Alan Rickman.
It was a bit Dr. Evil.
I didn't want to say I'm really sick in my mouth.
Go on, Lummy. What's your Alan Rickman? What's your Alan Rickman?
I'm not saying I can do it. I'm just saying...
No, I'm not chatting. I'm asking because I know you can do impressions.
Mr. Potter... We have a celebrity. Give me, I don't know what fucking lines. What did they say? Something about him being a celebrity.
It appears we have a celebrity in our midst.
Paparazzi are outside.
I grabbed Bar's hammer.
Oh, I love that film so much.
Me too.
Oh my
Did
God.
you know there's a documentary about Galaxy Quest out?
No, there isn't, is there?
Yeah.
Where did I see that? It's the most
remember.
underrated comedy movie.
I might have been our Dan or Lummy that told me.
Do you know that Simon Pegg is meant to be doing a series of it?
Really?
What, Galaxy Quest?
Yeah.
That'll be good. It's such a good movie. It's so underrated. Nobody ever talks about it.
Love
It's
it.
not Harry
Love
Potter,
it.
though, is it? Sorry for bringing it up.
No,
It's linked though with Rickman, innit? That's why we
got
got it.
What is?
So in terms of what actually happens within the fourth story, I think, like I said before, it is very much like a Hitchcock story. It is a murder mystery. You find that all these weird things happen. Barty Crouch dies. You find his body in the woods. There's all these weird things are going on. Why is Harry's name being put in the Goblet of Fire? He's also gets a backlash from his best friend Ron, who feels that.
We've skipped massively ahead, but remember as well the opening of the film, the Wizarding World Cup, the Quidditch World Cup, is also where the fucking Death Eaters,
yeah,
and like the whole place, and
they're torturing the Muggles.
Yeah.
It did get to set some stuff on fire.
So that is actually a much bigger thing in the books as well. What they do to the Muggles.
Miles said this as well. Didn't explain in the film how Dumbledore knew Harry had waited in the lake. No chat with Merking.
No, there was. You do see him crouched down, chatting to the mer people on the docks. But it isn't focused upon. But you do see it in the film. It is very subtle, though, and you will miss it. There's lots of little things that they do. That third film was his first. We made the mistake there. Thanks, Big T, man. So
Galaxy Quest, thank you.
So there is that whole thing. You're right. At the Quidditch World Cup, where you first see the Death Eaters, and also this is an incarnation of the Death Eaters you see one time only in this film. You see it at the beginning and you see it at the end of the film, and then you don't see them like this in the rest of the films because they were criticized for having a massive likeness to the KKK. With the really pointed hats, so they were basically just black KKK robes. Is what they were wearing, and they took them out of the sort of the next films that came along.
Is it the first film? Is this the first time you see the dark mark as well in the sky?
It is. So that's again. You see. Hey, how you doing? Thanks, Gary. Welcome to the show, man.
Hi, Gary.
Cheers.
Hi, Gary. Do you know Gary?
No, I don't know Gary, but welcome. We're trying to build a community here, aren't we, guys?
Gary
more people welcome because it increases our collective nerd knowledge. That's another reason that it's spoiled a little bit by revealing Barty Crouch Jr. so early in the film, because you actually see him sending up the Dark Mark. Whereas that's a whole thing where Barty Crouch comes along, has a go at Harry, points the wand at Ron, accuses him of doing it. And
then the house elf is accused.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then she gets fired, and ends up in Hogwarts, and that's how we find out that she's like falling to pieces, and the whole spew thing, and
you miss
like,
all of that. You miss all of that, and that's really, really important. The whole character arc of house elves of a species is really important, and I think
it is. But okay, for me, the spew thing I can live without. I get it. I understand that they're establishing a world where people also campaign like we do in the Muggle world for things that they're passionate about.
And also that wizards can be cruel and things like that, and they can be cruel to other species and elitists.
They're total dicks to them. But what you're missing out is all the things you learn about what house elves can do and how they affect the world and how they affect things. I mean, bloody hell. So in the second book, which I'm reading at the minute, Dobby is a little minx, man. He's just
he's a little shit.
So he can't figure out. Harry Potter can't figure out why he's not allowed on the platform, and he has to take the car to school. And then he gets Bludger that's chasing after him through the Quidditch match, trying to kill him. And basically, when Dobby shows up, he's like, "Oh, sorry, Harry Potter, that was me. I'm just messing you about.
I'm trying to help you.
I'm just messing you about.
There's that line where Ron or Hermione says something like, if he stop trying to save your life, he's going to kill you or something like that.
But the thing is, but the reason I think it is important, the whole spew thing, and I'm not upset that it was missed out of the films at all, but had they had some mention of the way that she was treated by, because also she was Barney Crouch Jr.'s best friend, and she looked after him throughout him having the Imperius curse put on him by that's the whole thing. We're introduced to again to Azkaban. We find out how he escaped. Barty Crouch Jr. escaped Azkaban. We see him in the Pensieve when Harry goes to have a look through Dumbledore's memories. You see that he's there being tried in court. You see his dad sentencing him to Azkaban, but then we miss the whole thing about how he got out. That's a complete mystery still, and it's never resolved in the film that his mum took his place. So all of that, but also how loyal house elves are. Because the reason it's important is because Sirius died because he wasn't nicer to Creature. Arguably, that is why he died, because he was horrible to Creature, and Creature then didn't see him as a true master. And then when Bellatrix and Lucius Malfoy's wife, Narcissa Malfoy, came along and were nice to him, suddenly he opened up and was quite happily betrayed his true master, although they're of the same family name, betrayed Sirius's trust. Also, you see that is how Harry ends up getting lots of secrets and getting on Creature's good side by being nice to him. It's also the reason that Ron and Hermione, it's the catalyst for them actually kissing, because Ron says something really nice about house elves and about spew, and suddenly Hermione gives him a massive hug and a huge kiss. So actually all the way through, it's always referred to in the books about why house elves are important and the way their relationship with wizards. So I guess
that's a little bit more emotional weight to it than Ron fell in love with Hermione because in the fourth film she brushed her fucking hair.
Well, she didn't even do that. She just put a spell on it.
I realise about the wizarding world, which is much better than our world, is that you're allowed to be ugly and have warts, because you can literally point your wand at your own face and straighten out those buck teeth. You can sort that out. Do you know what I mean? You can sort all that out, but they're not materialistic about things. They just crack on. It's like your
can we, before we
make you more witchy?
Nice. Before we move on, can we just talk about how poorly poor Ron, I think, is treated in this film? As in, he had hand-me-down robes, but he didn't have to have those hand-me-down robes.
Oh, you know mean for the Yule Ball, his dress robes?
Yeah.
I mean, literally, they look like an old pair of curtains.
This is what I don't understand, right? Have Ron's parents just not learnt the spells that make you rich? Like just make cash appear or turn a shitty robe into a
you can't do that, though.
Can't do
doesn't
that.
exist. So that's when we're introduced in this film. Sorry, go on, Lummy.
I was going to say, right, Harry Potter in this, the one thing that's always bugged me, I'll tell you this now, and see what you think, is that he's got a shit ton of money at the start of the first thing. He's got like more money than ever, and you think that makes him a bit unlikable to me.
And that's sort of one of the things in the films that I think
Why
they
don't
do
they
actually
buy
play on
everybody?
really well.
Why don't they buy everybody's stuff then? Why don't they buy Ron a decent set?
It talks about all of that because they're so
Well,
proud. The Weasleys are so proud;
Yeah.
they would never accept that. He won the only time. So it's actually the money he wins from the Triwizard tournament. He gives to George and Fred, and that is how they set up their joke shop in Diagon Alley. So he does give them money, and that's the thing. So you see him buying all the snacks when he first meets Ron. He's got the shitty moldy sandwiches, you know, that are made lovingly, of course.
All
But
right,
you know, when you've got
I'm gonna say something now that might make a little bit more sense, right? In most people's lives, the problem is getting more money, right? Having money, having a big pile of money there. When you find out in the first few pages of this book that this kid has got a vault full of gold, but still has all these problems.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's not about the money.
Yeah,
that isn't what he needs.
You've also got to remember, for the first 11 years of his life, he was living in a cupboard, wearing massive hand-me-down clothes from. He was bullied.
Yeah, from Dudley.
Why does he go back to their house as well? Why don't he buy his own?
He has to. So basically, Lummy. So basically, what happened was at the start. The brief arc of it is so when his mum and dad got killed, there was a prophecy, and Voldemort had effectively made that prophecy happen by picking Harry. He could have picked two people. The prophecy was about a child that was born on a certain date. Harry and Neville were both born on the same date, but he chose Harry effectively, and both can't live. Only one of them can live in this prophecy. His mum and dad get killed. He gets taken to the only family he's got, which is his aunt Petunia and his uncle Vernon. And she is terrified of all things magic because Snape actually put a spell on her and put a curse on her, or when they were kids. She really wanted to go to Hogwarts, and she wrote to Dumbledore at Hogwarts because she wanted to be a witch, but she was jealous of the fact that her sister was. Snape did something mean to her because he really fancied her. Just kids being mean to each other, and it just means that the whole wizarding world to her is something to be ashamed of, and he's freakish. She's really angry at the fact that Harry's there, so he doesn't want to be there, but there are charms and protection spells that are put on that property. So when he comes of age at the age of 17, a year earlier than we do, when he comes of age, then all of those charms will be broken. But those charms will exist on that house up until that point, as long as he calls it home. So he has to return there every year, even if it's for a few weeks, which is why sometimes he then goes to the Weasleys to stay, or he goes to where we're going to in the next film in a moment. Sirius's house. So that's the reason. So it would have been. I'm sure he'd have loved to. The whole point was in the third one, he wanted to go and live with Sirius.
Yeah,
he really wanted to.
He offers him to live. He couldn't. Yeah, you found out he's his godfather, and he offers him to live there, but he can't live there. He's not allowed. If he breaks the terms of having to live with the Dursleys, it fucks everything up. Yeah,
because his mum's the extension of his mum's love is what saved him from the curse when he was a baby. That's why it rebounded, and that extends to his auntie. So he's got to continue to go, or they can kill him.
Famously, that's why he was able to kill Voldemort with the reflective spell, because Voldemort didn't factor into the equation that love is really powerful.
Yeah, and we get further into that towards the end of it as well, where we find out that Voldemort really did not learn from his previous mistakes. It was
so. Then we got the big deal about the Goblet of Fire. It's your first death of another student.
Yeah, and it's your first. So this book is our first two. It's a biggery. Oh jeez.
Yeah, mate. So right at the end of the book, at the end of the film, once you get to the third challenge, so you've had the dragons, you've had the underwater one, and then the big maze, which I thought they did really well in the film.
I think they did.
Moving all the hedges around.
In the book, it's not the maze itself that is the enemy, whereas in the film, it was very much the maze that was attacking them. In the book, it is full of all sorts of magical creatures that are out to get them. There's a sphinx in there that asks them questions that they have to answer to be able to get through to the next part of the maze and stuff like that. So there's loads that I think it's a bit of a shame. They kind of rushed through the maze a little bit, I think. But they did hit those key moments of...
This is the thing, right? people forget that for me, the movies are just a little trailer for the books. I can't imagine a world where you're watching the movies and you're not reading the books. I mean, what the fuck?
Hello.
Actually, no, he's seen the films by default, and obviously he hasn't seen something in them that's made him go, I want to read the books. You know what I mean? But I started the other way around. I read the books before the movies.
Yeah, me too.
Well, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So
we've got this whole trek through the maze, basically culminating Harry and the kid from Hufflepuff, so Gryffindor and Hufflepuff, both. Yeah. Cedric Diggory and Harry Potter running for the cup.
Yeah,
but which is actually being turned into a magical object, Lummy, where if you touch it, you get transported to another.
I know about that.
Portkey,
that's the one.
Which you're also introduced at the start of the thing. It's how they get to the Quidditch World Cup.
They're on the balls out there and they go whistle around.
Yeah.
That's right. Was it a boot or something?
It was a boot.
They're transported to a graveyard where Voldemort's waiting for them with all the Death Eaters.
Well, it's actually his father. It's the graveyard where his father's grave is. Where Voldemort's father's grave. No, but it's significant. It's where Voldemort's father's grave is.
That was a glasses push up your nose moment. Well, actually,
I think you'll find. But that is important. No, but that is important because the reason they bring him there is because Voldemort believes, and this is where he's mistaken. And you don't know until the very end that in order to be able to make himself more powerful and have a kind of more recognizable human form, is that you need the bone from his father. You need a part of a body from a loyal servant, and you need the blood of an enemy. So he chose Harry Potter as the enemy, but it's where we find out he fucked up because basically Harry Potter has some of Voldemort in him because of that curse right at the start of the story. So what he's actually doing is then taking on part of himself again by taking on Harry's blood in that, and that was a mistake that he made.
But right, on page 113 of the first book,
right,
it says Harry nodded silently.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, that was.
I rest my case.
Well, that episode was a month ago, Lummy.
He's a wizard. He can nod silently. There's a whole chapter devoted to learning how to nod silently without the use of a wand.
There are classes at Hogwarts on that.
How do you nod silently?
So I think they handled the whole graveyard scene at the end of Goblet of Fire actually quite true to the books. I think it was done really, really well.
It was creepy and horrible and uncomfortable and disgusting.
Can anybody remember what every book you've got different things introduced to? What spells are introduced in this book?
Well,
because I know that the fifth book is like animated.
Well, Avada Kedavra. I mean, you're introduced to it in the third one, obviously, but it's actually done for the first time. You see it done.
Does it follow the Lego game, and the order you get the spells in that?
Is it where we see Crucio for the first time?
Possibly. Yeah.
Well, you see Crucio in the third one. You see all the unforgivable ones.
Sorry.
No, you're absolutely right. It's
because Mad-Eye Moody
and he does it all in this.
Yeah, so and it's not Moody, it's Barty Crouch.
Yeah,
because Moody would have never fucking done that to make his point.
It's the three unforgivable curses you're introduced to in this story. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he does it to the spider in the Defense Against the Dark Arts class.
Yeah.
And it gets Hermione upset, doesn't it?
And Neville.
That's where anybody with an inkling about good and bad magic should have known at that point that Moody would never have done that. So it has
Do you know? I don't know. I think Moody might have done because Moody was the one who was very much like, we can't pussyfoot around. We're fighting evil. We've got to play.
I don't want to be like a spoiler alert. We're moving straight to the end here, but the rumors are that it was Moody that killed Hedwig because he knew that Hedwig would give the real Harry Potter away. So. You know, there are rumors that wasn't a death. Yeah,
really?
There are rumors that
wow.
Yeah, I believe it's a fan theory that because Mad-Eye Moody knew Hedwig would stick with Harry no matter what. Thank you, Hedwig. There's Hedwig.
Sorry,
I cried my eyes out at this bit.
In the fourth book, mate.
Yeah, he killed her. He knocked her out of the sky so that the Death Eaters wouldn't find the real Harry.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's hard, isn't it? Sorry, Hedwig.
Okay, this might be a bit controversial, but Cedric Diggory's dad. And also, we're going to talk about this.
I mean, surely they should have called his dad.
Eventually.
Surely they should have called his dad Gregory Diggory.
Gregory
Diggory.
Come on.
Name.
Come on, Rowling. What are you playing at?
What about Higgery Diggory Dock?
And his son, Dedrick Diggory. But I...
Oh, mate.
Great actor.
Right,
yeah. But there was a bit in me that was like, but you are a bit of a prick though, mate, aren't you? Like, he's a really unlikable character all the way through that because he's so proud.
He's very much, he's so like,
and it's kind of like, and it's really flown in the face of Harry Potter.
But that shows but that shows that Cedric Diggory is a really cool guy. He's always like, "Oh, Dad, just fucking leave it out, man."
I read that the actor got the motivation for that scene thinking about the Twilight films.
You're an idiot.
True.
I read that the guy who played Cedric Diggory's dad. The reason that is so believable is because he actually killed his own son so he could go full method.
In preparation.
Wow.
He's a method actor.
Oh, shit.
In fact, he got a phone call from Robert De Niro going, "You."
So this is where we see the first death of a student. I mean, this is where we start. And really, she goes balls to the wall with the deaths from here on.
Oh my God, she doesn't stop now. Every 2 minutes.
This is the point where nobody's safe. And
exactly. Even in her own mind. I mean, there are
Harry Potter is because it's his name above.
Not really, actually. No. I actually absolutely thought there was a good chance that Harry Potter would.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, Lummy, do you know why?
Chapter 1, spoilers.
Yeah, do you know why it's called that, Lummy? Because he survived.
Just Voldemort tried to attack him and he lived out of that.
He's the only wizard to have ever survived a killing curse. So yeah, that's why that was his. But it doesn't. I actually thought he might die by the end because you do of get the. We are aware when we got to get to the sixth one before we can talk about this.
Merchandising says otherwise.
Let's just finish off this fourth one, and then let's have a little break to let Lummy get some steam off. Let's do that favourite spell thing. We did a
All right. Okay. Whoa.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so let's hang on. So
right. We're at the end of the Goblet of Fire. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got to go. So basically, Mad-Eye Moody then takes Harry up to.
No, wait. You've jumped ahead. In the graveyard when Cedric Diggory dies. They then travel back to Hogwarts, and Harry Potter is with got the body of Cedric Diggory in his arms, and
actually, we do need to go back. We need to go back, Webby. We need to go back. So basically, so Voldemort is been reincarnated effectively into he's touched his dark mark, which we find out is like a tattoo that all the Death Eaters have. And that's how Voldemort summons them to him. And which kind of gives Hermione a clue in the fifth story, but we'll get to that. Then Harry and Voldemort, they kind of have this moment where Harry's wand sort of almost takes over. They clash in with their spells. And you see this thing called Priori Incantate, which is where the people that have been killed by the spells that Voldemort has done recently, you start to see shadows of them. So you see Cedric's ghost come out, you see old Tom come out, you see both of Harry's parents come out, and they kind of surge the Death Eaters a little bit and talk him through what he's got to do. And that's where Cedric's ghost says, or his spirit says, "Can you take my body back?" So that is where Harry then dives through all the spells, and as he grabs Cedric's hand, and then he accios the portkey to him, just as Voldemort fires a killing curse, and he disappears back to Hogwarts, and that's where everyone starts freaking out. Harry's lying there, as Webby was just saying, holding on to Diggory's body. Dumbledore kind of prizes him away from him and tells him to wait there. And meanwhile, Mad-Eye Moody then comes up and he's like, "Come here, boy." And he takes him up to the office. Webby?
So the whole point of this film, or this particular film, is up till now, Lummy, they haven't been able to prove that Voldemort's back. They're really frustrated. There's only a couple of people that believe him. Dumbledore's pretty sure that Voldemort's knocking around, and a couple of other people. But at the end of this movie, and the reason the pace changes, and this one's darker, and then the next one's even darker, is because the next one starts with that knowledge that everybody now accepts that Voldemort is around.
Not everybody
No,
does.
not yet.
No, that's the
Not
point.
yet.
That's
Not
the point.
everybody, but it's cast this fucking shadow.
We all
over things.
know, and the people we care about know that he's back. And then
But nobody else believes them. Yeah.
Exactly, and that's where
until they see him fighting Dumbledore at the end of the next movie
right
after this
at the
one.
end. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, nobody, and so Harry's getting all that stick because they're all like, "You're making it up for attention."
Yeah,
just because.
So do they think he murdered Cedric?
There is a rumor. There is a rumor about that in the Daily Prophet. So
I think he did it.
So Mad-Eye Moody takes Harry up to the Defense Against the Dark Arts, starts asking Harry questions, and then he mentions a graveyard, and Harry's like, I don't think I mentioned anything about a graveyard. And then you start to see elements of Barney Crouch Jr.'s character.
And he's in the treasure.
And he's in the chest.
He starts licking his lips and that.
Yeah, and he's only kept him alive because he's been making the polyjuice potion.
With taking hair out. And then that's when Voldemort comes in and Harry sees him react angrily for the very first time. And that's why you need that juxtaposition, which you don't get in this film. And that's kind of the end of
this isn't the one with the no, that's one after, isn't it? With what's she face?
Okay, so guys, we set ourselves a challenge this week, and it was to come up with our own magic spell, or a charm. What you doing, mate?
It's all wizarding world politics. That means people don't believe. It's a nod to the papers in the real world having control and people believing what they read.
The fifth. Yeah, Rob. I mean, we're going to get into the fifth one in a second. To the Order of the Phoenix. It is so current to what's going on, particularly in this country, but probably America as well at this moment in time. It is
especially with that one jabs that keep having.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely. With our Home Secretary, with Dolores Umbridge, it's very, very similar. But anyway, we'd set ourselves a challenge and we were going to create our own magic spell.
Oh, no, I didn't mean, well, I know we can do that as well, but I thought we did a best and worst. We each picked a best and worst.
Oh, you meant to do that first? All right, okay, so...
No, you've got a happy birthday from Daniel.
Oh, thank you, Daniel. That's lovely. I had a lovely birthday.
No, do you know what? We'll go to our best and worst later on. So we decided we're going to make some magic spells up this week. I only did one, but Webby seemed to have a bit of a field day. So Webby, do you want to hit us with some of your spells?
I got 3. Now, some of these could be quite handy, I think. I've tried to invoke the language of Potter, right?
Okay.
The spell language. So my first spell is going to be, and I'll tell you what it does afterwards. Smelly fartmus.
Right, excellent. Yeah, it gets rid of smelly farts.
What's that going to do? No. It's a little bit deeper than that. Basically, if you cast that spell on somebody, they will be surrounded with the odor that something smells farty or pooey all day. And they won't
just in their nostrils, just like,
what is that smell? And it's following them around all day.
Oh,
that's
good.
That is good.
Go on. You want another one, Webby?
The next one is basically for your randy little teenage person who might want to change something about somebody. Can you guess what this one is? Engorgio bubificus.
Jesus Christ.
That's brilliant, Webb.
Well done.
Wow.
It took you seconds to write that.
It did, yeah. And get this one. My next one's even.
Oh my God!
You
stopped the show for this?
No, my next one is Expecto Gizmonus.
Oh Jesus Christ, dude!
Basically, if you cast that on someone, they'll jizz in the pants. Just automatically. You could do it to anyone all the time.
I thought that one like that on with snails.
Yeah, they have, but I've adapted it to make it more about jizz.
Wow, excellent. Right, Nat, what did you make up your own spell?
I did. I think it's really only one for the ladies. And I think that every lady that you offered the spell to would do it. So I've written it down. It's Imbrazioso, and it automatically makes any bra that you're wearing the most comfortable thing that you've ever worn in your life. Because
that goes really well with Engorgio bubificus.
Oh, dude.
It does actually.
It's the spell to
you can keep doing the 2 spells until things just fit perfectly.
See, I like the fact that you're thinking about humanity here and comfort now. Well, Nathan's mind is firmly in the gutter with his.
He's all about tits, yeah.
I mean, it's firm.
Any woman will tell you one of the favourite things to do when they get home at the end of the day is get that bra off, particularly
And get that one out. Hey!
Get that one out. Get that Engorgio spell going.
Do you have any other spells for us, Nat?
No, I just felt like that one was a really big one.
I've only got one as well. What about you, Lummy? Did you make up your own spell?
I made one up. It's called Ring Guardium Lactosa.
Nice. Ringardium Lactosa. Ringardium Lactosa. I like it.
It protects your ring if you've got lactose intolerance.
What is going on with you?
Right, okay. I took this a lot more seriously than you guys. So mine is
special lactose intolerance. So would ever come up with that? Because nobody else gives a shit.
I don't know if being lactose intolerant affects your ring either, does it?
No, I thought that was curry.
Of course it does.
Lummy, I don't know.
Of course it does.
Are you lactose intolerant, Lummy?
Yeah, you can. It's kind of the spell puts a seal on it all. So you can go enjoy your day.
Oh God!
I mean, I've got Martin's agreeing. Look, definitely need that after a curry. There you go.
After a curry, that's what me and Nat say. Anyway, so mine is. So I know you've got like the forbidden curse. You've got nothing, not enough cheers. Wow. I know you've got the killing curse, the unforgivable curse. If you want to get rid of someone, Avada Kedavra, boom, done away with them. This is kind of like a family-friendly version of that, basically. If somebody's annoying you, you don't want to kill them, but you just want them to go away, then you say, Adeflicatus urina.
Oh?
Adeflicatus urina. And it's Latin for piss off. There you are. So yeah, so it just makes people piss off a little bit.
Defecatus sounds like you're making somebody shit themselves.
No, but it's the urina that is the
and we themselves.
Yeah.
No, it's to release
defecatus.
Well, he tried to make a nice one. But
straight to the gutter again. Straight to the gutter.
Dirty, straight away. Give us another. We'll turn it dirty. Don't bother. We'll just carry on.
I don't know how you do it, Rich. I don't know how you do it.
Lummy. I've actually got tears of joy in my eyes.
Right. Okay. So let's go to the Order of the Phoenix. Now, director of this film is David Yates. In fact, David Yates took the he took the torch and he ran straight through the next 4 films actually. And this for me at this point was my favorite, and in some ways still is my favorite of all 8 films. He brought a breath of fresh air to the franchise, and it was really dark as well.
Yeah.
And it was quite faithful to the books. I mean, I know he had to. This again, the 5th book is huge. Yeah.
There's like one candle in the whole entire, like lighting 7 people. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Anyway. Look at Ron, like putting a bit of effort into looking a bit.
All of them look at Ned.
Moody. It's like, I'm Ron. All right.
So again, this starts fairly similarly. You don't see the bit where Harry's lying underneath the window ledge trying to find out news, and Vernon coming out.
News. What's he doing under there?
Well, basically, his uncle Vernon and Aunt Petunia don't want him anywhere near them. They don't want him sitting watching TV with them. So he's outside the living room window listening to news because he knows that shit's going down. He knows Voldemort's back. So he's waiting to hear for tragedies or events in the real world that might inform him. Nobody's been in touch with him from the real world, from the wizard world. None of his friends, Dumbledore, no one's checked up on him. He's like gutted that he feels like
moody about it.
Yeah, he's been abandoned after seeing, a schoolmate die, after nearly dying himself.
Jesus, this is the angry one, isn't it? This is the one where Harry Potter's
really
all grumpy all the way through it.
But you can understand. But you can understand why, because at the same time as well, you've also got this connection between him and Voldemort. That becomes so much stronger. His scar hurts a lot more. You can start seeing what Voldemort sees. And that's why he starts having the ligaments classes with Snape. The legiliments classes.
I can't say it.
We've got.
But it is occlumency.
You guys watch Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets? If I redid it and made John Travolta play every character.
yeah, I would, Gary.
I would love to see that.
100%.
I'm kind of hoping you've already made it, and we're going to get to watch it straight after this show, because that sounds genius.
I'm in.
If you can get John Travolta to sign on, then
there is another explanation, by the way, for Harry Potter's mood, and isn't this the movie of this opens with him in a park, clearly too big for the swings and slides.
Don't be judging him.
No, he's having a play at sandpit, isn't he?
He's just pissed off. He's sat there on his own trying to have fun, and he can't get in the slide, and he can't just fit down it anymore. It's not good.
So I think I really enjoy the start of this in both the book and the film, because it's where you then see Dementors come in and the real world. They come down. So basically in the book you've got Uncle Vernon Grandemodo. What are you doing here? Why is this? He tries to tell him, but he won't listen to him. But Harry's also heard this loud crack, this loud bang as well, which is what's alerted Uncle Vernon to kind of look out the window, and he thinks that I watched it as well. Yeah, it was. I saw it in 3D as well, and I think it had a 3D advert for something to do with Jim Carrey in it. I can't remember, but it was brilliant. The first 8 minutes of this were in 3D at the cinema.
Scrooge.
Might have been.
It
might have been, because it was around about the same time. So it must have been. So then you see him. He's in the park. Dudley is huge by this point. He's been taking boxing classes. He's the leader of a gang of bullies, basically, and come over and he says some really horrible things to Harry about his. And by this point, he knows as well that Harry's not allowed to do magic. Because he used to be scared of Harry and his magic, but he knows he's not allowed to do magic because he's nearly been kicked out of school a couple of times as a result of kind of using magic. And so he comes along to bully him. And then it's at that point, a couple of Dementors come down and start sucking Dudley's soul. Sucking his soul. Harry sends out a Patronus. And this is where you then find out about another squib who lives on Privet Drive. And it's another resident of the Muggle
the old lady.
World. Yeah. Who comes along, and I can't remember her name. It's Mrs.
Oh, come on, guys. It's supposed to be fans.
Oh my God, that's going to drive me nuts.
Mrs. Goggins.
Let us know in the comments if you can remember
Goggins.
what her name is. Mrs. Goggins. So you find out that she has been this squib has been put there to spy on Harry, effectively, and to feed back to the Order of the Phoenix, who we don't know anything about the Order of the Phoenix yet, but basically to feed back to Dumbledore and anyone who cares about Harry, about what's going on in his life, because he sent the Dementor, as he sent the Patronus,
Arabella Fig,
Mrs. Fig,
Arabella Fig. There you go.
That's it. So so then we see Harry then finds out that he has been kicked out of Hogwarts and he has to stand trial at the Ministry of Magic, and then immediately gets a letter straight away from Dumbledore saying that he's managed to make it so that he hasn't been kicked out of Hogwarts, but he does still have to stand trial, and he has to go to the Weasleys basically as a prep for all of that. So it's quite there's a lot going on at the start of that. What do you guys think about it? The kind of differences from the film to the book?
I think it's better than the book.
You think it's better than the book? You think the film's better than the book, Lummy?
This one, just this one.
Really?
Only this one.
Actually, this if there was any of the films that were going to be as good, if not better than the book, then this would be it. I think David Yates' work on this was stunning. I think he did a brilliant job. Did a brilliant job.
All of that.
Because this is the one where I know. Go on, Nat.
Oh no, I was just going to say I wanted this one to be my favourite film because I thoroughly enjoyed this book, probably almost as much as Prisoner of Azkaban, which is my absolute favourite. But actually, the next film for me except for one bit at the end, which I will rant about when we get to it. We'll go there. I thought that the next film from this looks slick AF, and I wanted this film to look like that film. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For me, right, we haven't got there yet, but the bit where Harry gets picked up by the Order of the Phoenix and they end up at whoever's house it is, and they all take the polyjuice potion, so they all look like Harry.
That's in the 7th one, yeah.
Yeah,
in this,
that's
in this movie.
That's at Harry's, because they're about to leave the Dursleys for the last time.
Dude, that's
and
in
they
the
all
7th
become
one.
Harry.
That's in Deathly Hallows. There's nothing to do.
In Hogwarts in this one.
So basically, what happens is he then gets taken to the Weasleys. They come and get him. Arthur, Fred, and I think George and Ron. They come down through the Floo network into the Dursleys' bricked up fireplace and end up blasting the fireplace open. And they come and they take Harry and they take him.
It's all very awkward, isn't it? It's all very.
Is that this one or is that the Goblet of Fire?
I thought that was this one.
No, the Goblet of Fire goes straight from the Triwizard Tournament, doesn't it?
But I'm thinking in the...
No, sorry, the World Cup.
But I'm thinking in the books, though. But basically, he ends up at the Weasleys because Mr. Weasley has to take him to the Ministry of Magic where he works to be able to take him to the trial. So when he gets to the Weasleys, Hermione's no, the 5th one. Sorry, it's the 5th one, isn't it? He doesn't go to the Weasleys. He goes to Grimmauld Place.
Yes.
To Sirius's house. That's where he goes to this one. So how does he get to Grimmauld Place? Because somebody needs to be able to take him there.
This is the one with that Umbridge woman in, isn't it?
Yeah, she's evil.
Dude, he gets escorted there by Mad-Eye Moody and the other guys from the Order of the Phoenix, because that's when you see the house transform.
It grows out of the thing, but I don't think they all become Harry. That's definitely when he's leaving the door.
You're right. Now, my beef with that was going to be something that I have got beef with the Polyjuice potion.
But that's in this, dude. That's 2 books away.
No. This relates to all of them. They made a mistake really, really early on, and when they decided, so in the first time they take Polyjuice potion in Chamber of Secrets, and they've got to take a hair from the Slytherin.
Crab, Goyle,
they all transform,
and Hermione gets the cat.
You've got them, whoever they've transformed into, but they don't transform their voices. So Harry still sounds like Harry, even though he's in Vincent Crabbe's body. And that because they fucked up there, they had to do it for the rest of the films.
In the films, but in the books, they do take on the voices of the people that they've.
Because otherwise, it'd be weird, wouldn't it? If you're taking Polyjuice potion to turn into a grown-ass man, and you've got Ron Weasley's
prepubescent,
absolutely, give the game away. And I think they try and make a couple of jokes out of it in the movies, but it just didn't ring true for me. But
so they come and get him and they take him to Grimmauld Place,
and that's where he finds out about the
come and get him, don't they? You're right.
Yeah, and they find out that there's something that Voldemort wanted or needs, which I believe turns out to be the locket of Salazar Slytherin, isn't it?
What
is that in this one?
There's no, it's the 6th one.
Voldemort is after an object that he or something.
No.
And
no. Yeah, no. He's after the prophecy in the thingy of mysteries, Department of Mysteries.
Yeah,
so basically, what happens in this one is Mad-Eye Moody and Tonks come and get Harry from Privet Drive. They take him to Grimmauld Place, which is the secret location of the Order of the Phoenix. It's Sirius's house, the house of the family Black. They take him in there. Everybody's like, the kids are all like, Harry, we really missed you. Sorry, we weren't allowed to tell you anything that was going on. Order of the Phoenix, these are some cool dudes. These are the people that stood up to Voldemort in that first Wizarding War, the second Wizarding War. They were the ones who stood up to him. Loads of them got killed. Your parents were members of the Order of the Phoenix. It's led by Dumbledore, and there's all these meetings going on in the kitchen of the extendable ears that Fred and George have invented, and they're listening downstairs to what's going on, and Harry's just really angry because nobody's told him about anything. He then has to go to the Ministry of Magic with Arthur Weasley, and it's got those nice moments where they go into a phone box. That's how you get into the Ministry of Magic, but they have to go via tube, and Arthur Weasley has to kind of work out about the tube tickets and going on the underground through London and stuff. And I love that, and it's really charming the way that they've kind
he's such a lovely character.
He's brilliant, I love him. He's absolutely brilliant. And then they're taken to the Ministry of Magic. And then it differs quite a lot here between the book and the film. But basically, you find out that the Ministry should no way be having a trial for a misuse of magic, underage magic. It's blown way out of proportion. And also, they've set the trial for like an hour earlier than it was supposed to be.
Yeah, and it didn't Dumbledore turn up anyway and was like,
and
it's
Dumbledore
all right,
had been there for like 5 hours. Yeah, exactly, because he totally expected it. And basically, it's at that point you see Professor Umbridge, who sat there with the Wizarding Goblet and all those people in the court. And Imelda Staunton is
my God,
amazing in this.
Unbelievable. One of the best villains ever written. And I believe
incredible.
I read somewhere that the
Stephen
wardrobe
King.
department. Yes.
Oh, go on.
He loved her. Yeah, he thought she was one of the best villains ever written. But the wardrobe department, as the film went on, made her costumes more and more fuzzy and more hairy. So as she went in, she looked more and more fluffy and pink, the more evil that she got. Yeah.
I mean, she's definitely Priti Patel before Priti Patel existed as a Home Secretary, right? She is very much like our Home Secretary. But yeah, so this is where we find out that, it's, Dumbledore managed to come in with the defense. He brings Mrs. Fig along to stick up, to testify that there were Dementors in Privet Drive. And this is where, because Dumbledore's saying, you've got Dementors on the loose. And he's going, no, they're only Fudge is going, no, they're only answerable to the Ministry of Magic. And Dumbledore's like, so why were they in Privet Drive? And he's going, wait, it sounds like you're saying that they set them on. And Dumbledore's like, no, we know that's not what happened. So you want to find out why this happened, why they were there. We've got evidence that they were there. And meanwhile, rather than being angry like Fudges and Umbridges, you've got all these other wizards of the Gambon who are there just going, you did a full Patronus charm at your age. Wow. And they're all kind of impressed by this young Harry Potter. But meanwhile, Dumbledore is not looking at him at all, never acknowledges him, never looks at him once. And it all ends, and then Harry has to leave. Arthur meets him outside. He also bumps into Lucius Malfoy, and he's seen giving money to the Minister of Magic, to Fudge. And then Harry goes back to Grimmauld Place, to Sirius's house, and they get ready to go to Hogwarts. And Harry is kind of moody throughout all of this because of everything that's happened.
He's always moody. He's right moody git through this.
He is, very much so.
And you forgot about the love interest for Harry.
We've not got there yet.
We've not got there yet, but actually, so they do get to Hogwarts, start the term, and this is where we start to have more of a love interest thing. So there was a thing where he tried to chat up Cho Chang to be his partner at the Yule Ball in the previous story. But then obviously she went with Cedric Diggory. Cedric's now dead, and him and her kind of start to build this weird relationship, don't they? This kind of fondness for each other throughout this story. It's kind of weird. And meanwhile, Dumbledore still isn't talking to Harry. He just doesn't know what's been going on. Harry Scar's hurting a lot. He's seen lots of images, lots of visions of what Voldemort's getting up to. He doesn't want to tell anyone about it.
Well, he saves Arthur Weasley, doesn't he? He saves Arthur Weasley.
And then we come to the point where, exactly. So then it comes to the point. So we know that the Order of the Phoenix are guarding something, but we don't know what they're guarding. But something's going down at the Ministry, and they know that there's this kind of war within people at the Ministry. Fudge is flat out denying that Voldemort is back. Just denying it, because if that had happened on his watch, then obviously he'd lose his job. Everyone would want his head. But the fact is that has happened on his watch. And he's still kind of denying it. He's still trying to cover everything up. And meanwhile, turning the Prophet, the newspaper, against Harry. So all these stories are coming out about Harry and
smear campaign
relationship, smear campaign, his relationship with Hermione. It's a huge smear campaign against him. There's loads of propaganda against him, all kind of designed by the Ministry of Magic. And then Harry sees one night, and Ron kind of started being a bit more friendly with him. And then we see one night Harry sees himself going down a corridor in the Department of Mysteries, and he sees Arthur Weasley, Ron's dad, and he sees himself from his point of view attacking Arthur Weasley. And he kind of wakes up freaking out, goes and tells people about it, and
Dumbledore tells McGonagall,
McGonagall, and then basically we find out this is where Harry's like starting to wonder whether he had attacked Arthur. He can't process, he can't work out what's going on. It's where we start finding out truly what the link between Voldemort and Harry is, or the extent of it.
I mean, he killed Cedric Diggory, so...
Excellent, brilliant. I mean, yeah.
I tell you what's nice about this book, right, is the way that J.K.
I'm a Potter tonight.
He's an anti-Voldemort.
Voldemort didn't happen. We're all Harry.
Didn't exist. Second
Fake
Wizarding
news.
War.
Fake news, Lummy. Sorry, Webby, what were you saying, love?
The way that J.K. Rowling opens up conversations about death. So she makes people who experience death quite important. Yeah, so the fact that Harry and Cho are bonding over the death of Cedric Diggory, and then the fact that you're about to meet Luna Lovegood, and they've
for the first time.
I love Luna.
Yeah.
First time you meet Luna, who's a fucking great character and really important to the story on the whole. But when you first meet her, she can see the beasts that
Thestrals.
the Thestrals that draw the horse and carts, and nobody else can see them. So to people who haven't experienced death, you can't see these skeletons.
It's a really important point, that is, actually.
Why can't Harry see him then?
Harry can see them, mate. It's the first time he sees them. So basically, they've been in these carriages that have been pulled. Sorry.
I'm saying the same thing as you. You chatty motherfucker. Do you want to do this show on your own? Jesus Christ. Harry's looking at these things, Lummy, and everybody, and he's like, "Wow, have you seen those?" And everybody's like, "I can't see anything. What are you talking about, dickhead?" And Luna Lovegood's the one that says, "Actually, Harry, I can see him as well."
Do an impression of a voice for me.
Actually, Harry, I can see them as well.
I remember that now, yeah.
Oh.
There you go. So yeah,
do your Angela Lansbury.
Oh come on! No,
Right.
when we do the
We haven't got time.
when we do the bed knobs and broomsticks, sure, I promise you,
All right,
I'll wang it out.
off topic.
Anyway, so yeah,
And
we
his
meet Luna
impression.
Lovegood, and we start to learn a little bit about her father as well, who works for the Scribbler. What the fuck's his name?
Yeah,
Quibbler.
Zenelius Lovegood. And he's the editor of the Quibbler, which is like
A tabloid.
it's like exactly.
National
Daily
Enquirer?
Star.
Like the National Enquirer, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, although you see some characters in there, whenever you see somebody with a copy of that paper, they're one of the smarter people. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit like those conspiracy nuts in Men in Black. Is it Men in Black? The one guys, when they're reading through the National Enquirer to find out, the alien and all that shit, and they know that all these stories are true. So even though it's a joke of a newspaper, the Quibbler actually does have some truth to it in places.
And we see torture in this one as well, don't we? Like,
yes, exactly.
I mean, like Umbridge tortures Harry by making him write lines.
She makes him write. It makes blood appear in the lines.
It's pretty horrendous, really.
We also find out more when Harry goes to see Arthur Weasley in hospital after. So he's been found. He's safe. The family are all there. It's around about Christmas time, and it's where he stumbles upon Neville's mum and dad, and he suddenly realizes and he sees Neville with his grandma. And Neville's grandma in the book is really angry because it's the first time anybody at Hogwarts, any of the kids, knows what happened to Neville's parents, that they got tortured to insanity by Bellatrix Lestrange after Voldemort's death to try and find out what had happened to Voldemort. So that's the thing that I find really sad about it. It wasn't even at the height of Voldemort's power. It was after he had died, Bellatrix Lestrange and can't remember who else, it might have been her husband, went and tortured them to insanity. And Neville's grandma is really angry. I mean, like, you get this thing that she's so disappointed with her grandson, particularly in this film, because she feels that he thinks that he's ashamed of his parents. The torture kind of element to it is really kind of really cool.
It's really prominent, and also that gives you a lot more understanding of Neville's focus on Bellatrix. Whenever they're in a battle, whenever she's around, he's the one who wants to get her. She's way she could run rings around him, I'm sure.
Well, in the seventh book, but to be fair, in the seventh book, in that final battle, you've got Bellatrix Lestrange fighting Luna, Ginny, and Hermione all at once, and she's way stronger than them. And she nearly
But in
kills
the
Ginny
film,
with the killing curse, which is why, it's the same thing, which is why then Mrs. Weasley comes along. She's so incandescent with rage that that her daughter nearly got killed. And the same line is said. It's that boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
It's not my daughter.
Oh God, the best bit.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's fucking brilliant.
Julie
It's absolutely brilliant.
Walters.
She's brilliant.
she's great,
absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
They kind of nicked that from Alien a bit, though, didn't they?
Get away from
So
her.
the other thing you got in the Order of the Phoenix. So you've got Professor Umbridge, who is creating all of these wizarding decrees. She ends up being made sort of High Commissioner of Hogwarts, which means that she doesn't supersede Dumbledore in terms of teaching staff, but in terms of rules and what happens in the school, the politics of the school. She's very much in charge, and it's all being sort of ticked off by the Minister of Magic, by Fudge. And you kind of think that she's there for more sort of nefarious means, the way that she's punishing students, the way that she's torturing them. But also, this is where we find that...
Is it this one where she fires Trelawney, and there's an awful scene where Trelawney is in the courtyard?
So that is where you find out that Dumbledore supersedes her in terms of teaching staff. You can't let her leave. You don't have the authority to kick her out of the school, but you have the authority to stop her being a teacher here. But I'm in charge of these bits of the school and stuff, so she can stay. But it's also where you see Fred and George making all of their practical jokes, the start of their joke shop, the start of Wizards wizarding Weasleys. No, Weasleys wizarding Weasleys.
That's so much shit from Umbridge that they quit school, don't they? And they're leaving.
But that's so we get. So that's where we get. Yeah, we get to that. So she's there putting.
But also, wait a minute, man. The other thing about Umbridge being put in place is the suspicion of the Ministry of Magic of what the fuck Albus is up to, what Dumbledore's up to.
Yeah,
they need a man on the inside to control this fucking renegade headmaster.
Because Fudge is worried that Dumbledore wants his job. When in actual fact, Dumbledore was offered that job several times over before Fudge, took it. He just wasn't interested in the job. He doesn't want to be the Minister of Magic. But Fudge thinks that Dumbledore's starting a revolution. So when the kids are then given Umbridge as their defense against the dark arts teacher, and all of the work is theory, and Harry's like, no, it's not. This shit happens. There are things that she's like, kind of, your children, who are you going to fight? And he's had to fight all these things throughout the 4 stories up until this point. That's when she starts punishing him even more, and that is when. Go on.
That's that's how you end up with a bunch of students starting a group to teach themselves defense against the dark arts, because the teachers aren't doing their job. They're deliberately keeping them away from doing anything to do with practical spells or anything that might actually help. So they set
because
they're
worried, the paranoia, they think that they're starting a revolution.
Yeah, and they use the Room of Requirement, which is a room in Hogwarts that you can go in, and it has everything you need for whatever particular reason you need it for in place in that room. So if you want to read a bunch of books, it'll be full of books.
Shouldn't it be called the Room of Convenience?
Should be, yeah.
But it's whatever you require the room to be.
Yeah. I want it to be called the Room of Convenience.
If you need
with a big plaque.
Come on the door,
and a toilet.
If you need a dump, that's it. You go there. Open the door. It's full of toilets. Soft toilets.
Wingardium Lactosa.
So they set up Dumbledore's army, the DA.
Yeah, and you got Harry gaining a new level of respect from people who realise how difficult some of this shit he's able to do is to do. So to be able to produce a Patronus charm is difficult. It's really, really difficult to do, and he teaches everybody to do it.
And people laugh at him for using Expelliarmus, a disarming charm, against dark wizards. And he's like, well, yeah, but it's way more complicated than just a disarming charm. It's a really good spell. And some of the kids who are sort of naysayers about his abilities and about his journey, some of them still aren't believing, because there's a lot of doubting still in the school. A lot of them still think that he's made this shit up for attention, and
Dumbledore's army has a massive effect on the morale of the students. So people like Neville's not the most confident wizard at all. He's not.
And Ron as well.
Ron, he's too fucking nervous in lessons, and people think he's a joke. But he actually gets some time to think about what he's doing and concentrate his efforts. And he's just as able to do everything as everybody else is once they give him the freedom to do it.
where you see Ginny becoming a real kick-ass wizard as well. You see Ginny becoming really strong. Now, this is the thing. I'm disappointed with the way that they handled Ginny throughout the films because Ginny is really witty. She's funny. She's ballsy. And it's all these things that attract Harry to her. You see her being meek at the start when she's fancying Harry but is a kid and is scared and shy in the second one. But actually, throughout the fourth, particularly in the fifth, she becomes really funny, really clever, really ballsy. She's an incredibly talented, pure-blood witch, and I think they completely mishandle her.
To notice her, doesn't he?
100%.
Well, not as much in this one. It's more Cho in this one. Still, because this is where he kisses Cho for the first time, round about Christmas time, just before the break for the Christmas holidays at the end of a DA practice. Okay. So, but it's kind of towards the end of it that he still notices her a little bit, but it's more in the sixth one where he really notices her, and again, it's because she's dating all these other guys, and he gets jealous.
The other reason as well that they need that room of requirement is because Umbridge and her clan of fucking people that she puts
Malfoy, like Crabbe, Goyle,
into a group that have special powers, and
something squad.
They know that the Harry Potter and his friends are up to something, and they're trying to catch him out.
Yeah.
So basically, they're trying to keep that room of requirement as secret as possible, and there's lots of bits where you can hear them in the corridor coming past, and
and they finally get rumbled, don't they? And meanwhile. Snape has been instructed to teach Harry Potter occlumency because he's a particularly skilled legilimens, which basically means...
It's really important to note at this time that we still don't know which side Snape's on. So the occlumency thing, trying to protect... So you're led to believe that the idea with occlumency is to keep your brain... private, to not let other people interfere, to use magic to keep people out of your head. But Snape keeps getting into Harry's head,
and Snape's an expert in it. That's the point.
So you're still not sure whether he's actually setting Harry up to be terrible
because he's being particularly provocative, isn't he? And he's kind of with the lessons, and then there's this one moment in one of the classes where Harry just manages to push back on it. And he gets to see this huge, where he gets to see his dad being a bully.
Yeah, big shock that,
and his dad is using the curse that that we see the Death Eaters doing in the fourth book with the keeper of the campground, lifting them up and dropping Snape in the air and putting his pants down and all these different things and being a massive bully to Snape. And it's where Harry, for the first time, starts to doubt whether his dad is a good person, a good human being, and he has to speak to Sirius about it. And meanwhile, Sirius is trying to confide in Sirius, but all the post is being checked coming in and out of the castle. Hedwig has a broken wing because they've caught Hedwig.
But as a reader as well, Rich, you're looking at it going, all right, we knew that Snape hates Harry Potter and he hates his dad.
Now we know why.
The possible reason is, and when you find that reason out, I'm like kind of on Snape's side, man.
A bit of a prick. Snape's a brilliantly complex character.
So Harry inadvertently finds out that Snape's darkest secret isn't that he used to be a bad wizard, he used to be one of the bad guys. It's that he was picked on and bullied and humiliated and that's why he's such an arsehole.
By the cool guys who happen to be his dad and his best friends.
And then the cool guy's got the girl,
Yeah, exactly.
It's annoying.
I just said this. Like how they hired a fan to play. Was she a fan?
Yeah, she was. So she is friends with my old housemate. They film self-tapes together. We're going to live together for a bit. Apparently, she's absolutely lovely. I never met her, but my old housemate's she's like one of his best friends. She's such a lovely... Just really.
But was she a fan before she was an actor then? Is that
so they did no casting call for that. For that one part. And to be honest, she's one of the best cast.
I agree.
In the whole series, she's brilliant.
100%.
It's usually the case, though, isn't it, where they get non-actors to be in stuff.
But she informs.
She nails that woolly, that glazed
spacey.
Yeah,
she's brilliant.
But actually, behind that, goofiness, there's this really smart, kick-ass, girl who ends up by the end just being one of the people who is essentially one of the most, in my opinion, one of the most important characters in it. Like
particularly in the films.
Yeah, I think they do.
Particularly in the films, because of the
that-
relationship that they give with her and Moaning Myrtle, and with the ghost of Ravenclaw.
And the fact that she's a believer, i.e., she believes all these off-the-cuff weird fucking things. Like, she believes in things that nobody in the wizard world believes in, and she's reading that paper. That's her strength.
Yeah,
that's one of her strengths.
Yeah.
Is having
And she
an open mind.
She becomes one of the most loyal out of all of the friends because of
Yeah.
that. You're right, Webby. That brings
Yeah.
a huge amount of loyalty that particularly
Because you've
in
got
this
like,
book,
I mean,
he needs. In this book, he needs. Even though she's a social outcast and everyone thinks she's a freak and they hide her stuff and they tie her shoelaces over.
And she's trying to go
wide.
around the castle at the end of the film and find all the stuff. And
She doesn't really give a shit. She just takes it on the chin. But yeah, that element of people like Hermione are challenged by Luna Lovegood because Hermione's all about the books and the facts and the science of things and the, and the learning, whereas Luna's got that, but she's also got this belief in the things that Hermione struggles with. And you've already had Hermione. This is really important as well. It's only because I've read the second book. I'm reading the second book that I realised this. I forgot about this, but Hermione, when Gilderoy Lockhart comes on the scene, she fucking loves him. She discovers throughout that book that he's full of shit. She learned. She's brought down by one of the heroes. So when she does choose to believe something that's a bit fanciful, she's often proved wrong. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she thought she could believe in Gilderoy Lockhart, but
there are other things that we're introduced to in this as well that we've missed, and it's the fact that right at the sort of while they're in Grimmauld Place, Ron and Hermione find out that they've been made prefects at the school. Because there's this whole battle then between them and Fred and George, who are creating these joke things for their joke business, and they're trying them out on first-year students. And
the puking pastels,
puking pastels, and they've got all these tricks that they've got to get kids out of lessons if they want to. And Hermione and Ron, and then it's their job to try and stop them. And Ron doesn't take that seriously, and that's another reason why Harry feels ostracized, because that train journey that they share together, they have to go and be prefects and manage the train. Where he goes and sits with Luna, and that's where he meets Luna for the first time in that train, and she's sat with Neville, and he's sat there with the losers in their year group, effectively, who end up being his best friends. So it's brilliant.
Yeah,
it's
well, you know what I like about this one as well, though, shows us again how talented Hermione is, because she puts the curse on the document they all signed to say that they'll keep the Dumbledore's army secret, and not even Madame Pomfrey can reverse what she's done.
To these spots, so basically, so they all have these coins, these galleons that tell them when there's going to be a meeting and the date of the meeting, the time of the meeting. That was inspired Hermione. She was inspired by the Dark Mark tattoo. That's how Voldemort called people, and that ended up being how they ended up being able to talk to each other and communicate with each other when the shit hit the fan in the seventh one, with Voldemort.
I know that we've kind of glossed over it, but in the third book, Harry gets given the Marauders map as well, which shows him the location of people in the grounds of Hogwarts, which is how he's able to find Peter Pettigrew and all that shit. But they use that map in the fifth one as well to tell them when people are coming up the corridor. You know what I mean? Then they might be in trouble, so they might need to quieten down in the room of requirement, and it's just another thing that falls into Harry's lap, like the invisibility cloak that just seems to be like,
I've got a question. Why don't they require a soundproof room?
They do. They can't be heard in there. But they are aware. Well, what happens is so they've got spies all over the castle, and it's where they see groups of students gravitating to, so they're aware that something's happening on that corridor somewhere.
And also, you don't want to open the door of the room of the requirement and walk out after you practice and bump right into Argus.
Exactly. So they've got to take it really carefully. And so basically, you've got this running battle between Snape. Snape ends up giving up on teaching occlumency to Harry because Harry gets to see his dark secrets.
So basically, that's a lesson.
And Dumbledore keeps disappearing away from the castle again, which
there's no point teaching occlumency to a kid that can already do it, that just doesn't know how to. You know what I mean? He's opened that door and he's actually better at it than Snape because he's got into Snape's head in like 3 lessons, which is a fucking worrying prospect. So
is this also where we find out that Harry can resist the Crucio curse?
Yeah.
Was that this one or the next one?
It might be the next one. So he gives up an occupancy. Then Harry sees this vision. He sees this vision, and it is Sirius needing help at the Ministry of Magic. And Sirius at this point as well is feeling very much like Harry is. He's feeling useless, and Snape is goading him as well in some of the meetings.
Yeah, because he wants to be like involved more, doesn't he?
Exactly. Yeah. And he really wants to be involved. He really wants help. And Snape's like, yeah, I'm the one who's putting my life on the line. You're doing nothing. Because they hate each other. They've hated each other since they were kids. It's like Draco and Harry. You know, they're just not friends at all. So Snape is just particularly cruel to and is able to push the right buttons with Sirius. And so then when Harry sees that Sirius is in this vision, is guarding, and it's exactly the same way that he saw Arthur Weasley, and he sees Sirius is guarding something in the Department of Mysteries, and he's about to get attacked, or he gets attacked, and that's where Harry freaks out. He goes and tells Snape. Snape doesn't give a shit. Dumbledore's not around. McGonagall, she doesn't really listen, and it's at this point as well. By this point, the Weasley boys have done what Nathan was saying.
They've had enough of Umbridge. They've exploded the fireworks all over the school, smashing all the decrees on the wall, and really causing havoc. And basically flown out of the school with two fingers up to Umbridge, saying, "Fuck you."
With even the teachers,
we're going to open a joke shop.
It's a beautiful moment, I've got to say.
It is.
Where they all set up for the Ministry of Magic, right?
Well, no, it's just after that actually, because basically you've got the bit as well where Dolores. So you also meet Hagrid's half brother. So we've missed out loads. So you find out that Hagrid has been missing for the first half of this book, and they've had to get in a different magical mysteries creatures teacher. And find out that
I had
Hagrid
forgotten
comes
about
back.
that.
Black and Blue is beaten up, but him and Madam, the headmistress from
Beauxbatons. Oh my God! I have to look out.
Yeah, so they have been sent to go and find the Giants under Dumbledore's orders to be able to go and parley with the Giants to be able to get them on their side. And you find out when Hagrid comes back that the Death Eaters got. They were doing quite well, but then there was an argument between two giants, and the giant that was the leader that they were able to turn and be able to get on their side got killed by another giant who was the leader, who was an evil bastard.
Madame Maxine.
Oh,
yes. that was the lady from Rising Damp, wasn't it?
It was, Frances.
Mr. Rigsby.
And so you find out that while they've been on that journey, all this happened, and they've lost the giant's support. They haven't got the giant support, but Hagrid meets his brother. What was his name again, Nay?
Gorp.
That's it.
Gorp.
And they bring Gorp back, and Hagrid goes to take them to meet Gorp in the forest, and because he's worried that he's going to be sent away from Hogwarts because he's going to be sacked, and he wants Hermione, Harry, and Ron to look after his half giant brother, basically, and it's where you meet the Centaurs for the first time as well.
No, and he takes the shine to Hermione.
You meet them it's where we meet, but you meet them. You meet them properly in terms of you find out how hostile they are. You find out there's this huge argument. They start fighting against Gorp, and then what happens is
1 second as well, and Gorp is like in love with Hermione.
Oh,
does he give a part of a bike?
Yes, and she rings the bell.
Because he does that in the Lego game. I remember that bit. I don't know why. And so is that in the film?
Cute. Oh, that's cute. That's nice. So basically,
dedication to Lego games even extends to shit that you don't care about. I'll play the Harry Potter ones as long as it's a Lego one. I'll play.
Smash that Lego.
So at the same time as being caught as the DA, Harry has that vision of Sirius being killed at the Department of the Department of Mysteries, and Dolores Umbridge is like, she's like, tell me, Dumbledore did this, Dumbledore did all this, he set all this up, didn't he? And Hermione just turns around like, yeah, it's because we've got a secret weapon. And Harry and Ron are like, what? And she's like, take me to it. And basically Hermione's got this idea to take Dolores Umbridge out into the Forbidden Forest to Gorp. And they're like, that is and they get out there and all the Centaurs come along. And then
she's
horrible
racist
to them.
She's holding a racist centaur, so they take her.
Bearing in mind, one of the centaurs.
Ride off with her.
But the centaurs.
You're going to be racist. You are definitely getting raped by centaurs tonight, look.
But the centaurs are already angry, and I can't. It's not Firenze. It's the other one, I think. But basically, because one of the centaurs has
AstraZeneca.
One of the centaurs has gone to replace. I don't know what you're talking about.
It don't matter.
Oh, he's coming up with names for centaurs.
Oh.
Okay, great. So basically, one of the centaurs has become the teacher for what's her name? The one that gets kicked out by Umbridge.
Trelawney.
Trelawney. He's basically there to replace Trelawney. All of the other centaurs are irate that he's doing that he's effectively becoming a servant to man. So they're really racist towards men. And again, showing that the wizards have been horrible to centaurs previously as well. And so they take Trelawney. She's horrible to the centaurs. They take her off. And that's the last we see of Umbridge in this. Meanwhile, Harry and those guys, they managed to use the Flu network in her office because all of the fireplaces are being cut off. Use Flu network in her office to be able to get themselves to the department or to the Ministry of Magic to be able to go and save Sirius. And that's where it gets really, really.
Can I just say as well, right? In Delumbridge,
good old
Delumbridge's office. There's all the plates with the kitty cats on that are all moving and meowing at the same time, right? It's a brilliant,
very sweet,
but it really doesn't say a lot about it. You know, if that's your standard for cat owners, a fucking crazy old witch.
All my cats have Harry Potter themed names. This is true. By accident. So I found my first kitten on an allotment in the Sprout patch. She's right next to me now. So I called her Sprouts. But then my second cat is a Ginger Tom. So he's called Ron Weasley. This is Ginger. And then from then on, we had Minerva, our Minnie.
Of course.
And then my final cat, who you saw earlier, the black one, that's Luna. Sure to share that with you.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
There you go.
Big Team, I'll just put that on.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. Naughty words from Big Team are in front of children.
What was the naughty word? Can you asterisk it out and type it in the comments?
Tennessee is bastard.
So basically, they end up at the Ministry of Magic to go and save Sirius, but it's all a trap. And we find out that Voldemort had used occlumency. Voldemort had become aware of this link between him and Harry, played a trick on him, and made him believe that Sirius was there. Basically, the thing that Dumbledore had feared, the reason he wanted him to have occlumency lessons in the first place.
Is this the one where somewhere near the end of the film or the book, the Ministry of Magic burst into Dumbledore's office?
And he says, "You're under the impression that I'm going to, how you say, come quietly."
Yeah.
And then does that.
Yeah. You're right, actually.
Line.
So you see Dumbledore being. They try to arrest Dumbledore because of the Dumbledore's army. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
So Fudge and Kingsley Shacklebolt comes along to try and arrest Dumbledore, and he says, You think that I'm going to come willingly? Claps hands.
Yeah.
And the Phoenix. And, it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And he gets away from it. Yeah, it's really good.
This is the thing about Dumbledore, right? Is he don't need to be on every page to make an impact. Do you know what I mean? All you need is him to show up for 2 minutes, and he always says something cool. He always does something interesting, and poof, you know. And it's great. Guys, I don't think we're going to make it through.
No, we're not. We're going to get to the end. No, we're not. We're going to get to the end of this. That's why. But we're trying to make it a 2-hour show tonight. So
looks more like Richard Harris on that one, doesn't he? Than
he does. Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So at the Ministry of Magic, that's where. So you've got a bunch of kids there. Basically, you've got the core members of Dumbledore's army. You've got Neville. You've got Ginny. You've got Luna, Harry, Ron, and Hermione. And I think that's it, isn't it? I think that's all you've got. And a load of Death Eaters descend upon them. Lucius Malfoy, like one of their classmates' parents, is there to come and do them in. Bellatrix Lestrange, Sirius's
really,
cousin.
really important because Lucius has been on camera He's been denying being a Death Eater for the past 4 fucking films and trying to say, oh yeah, that's an old part of my life. That's nothing to do with me anymore.
Absolutely.
It's all bullshit because he wanted to do that, but he didn't have the balls to stand up to Voldemort and say no. So he ends up becoming a bad guy again. And
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And so this is where we basically find out that the thing that Voldemort is after is the prophecy. And the reason he's got Harry there is because he wants only one person can take the prophecy, him or Harry. And he doesn't want to go into the Ministry of Magic and do it and reveal that because he's quite happy with the confusion that's in the wizarding world at the minute. So Harry manages to go in, gets the prophecy, and he hears Trelawney's kind of.
Isn't he really creepy in the film when she actually does a prophecy?
Yeah.
When she becomes. Oh.
Yeah. So that is in the 5th or 6th one. I can't remember.
I think it's in the next one.
Yeah, it's in the 6th one. And so the prophecy ends up getting smashed, which means that Voldemort is irate with his Death Eaters afterwards. A huge fight happens, and meanwhile, members of the Order of the Phoenix start arriving.
Well, yeah. So you got the kids basically facing off against a bunch of Death Eaters, and you're thinking, well, any adult Death Eaters who actually don't mind killing people with the
want them to die.
Yeah. Well, we're disarming your killing cursing.
There's kind of a respect thing, Lummy, with the bad magic. Like, good wizards just don't touch it. You're safe at Hogwarts. Nobody's gonna fucking crucio you. Nobody's gonna put the Imperator's curse on you. Nobody's gonna do any of that. But they are now learning that they're faced with a bunch of fully grown adults that will kill them. And then at the last minute, the Order of the Phoenix grown-ups show up. So you got Sirius, Kingsley Shacklebolt, and all those people, Tonks and
adults.
And Lupin, maybe.
Lupin, Sirius, Tonks, they all turn up.
Start battering the shit out of the Death Eaters with the wandage.
And this is where there is a different line in the book, and I quite like it. I quite like the line change in the film here, and it's where Sirius and Harry are both dueling somebody, and Harry does a curse. And in the book, I think Sirius says, "Step back, Harry," or something like that. But in the film, he says, "Nice one, James."
Yeah.
And it just shows that link to how he saw Harry as Harry's father, as his best friend. It shows that relationship. Sirius gets hit by a killing curse by Bellatrix.
The room that they're having this fight in, right, hasn't got anything in it apart from this fucking doorway.
Freaky door.
Freaky door to nowhere. With no handle, no door on it. It's just
got a curtain. It's got a curtain on it.
And if you fall through that, you basically fall into nothingness forever. There's no way out of it. So
and that wonderful smile that Bellatrix does when she...
Yeah. So and Sirius has
a
strange smile as he goes through the door as well, because that is repeated in the books by Bellatrix when she gets killed.
This is why I don't have a problem with Harry Potter being upset or being maudlin or being angry throughout the entire thing. He's basically just found his godfather, and he fucking loves him to bits. He's learned to trust him. He knows he's safe with this guy, and this guy can teach him.
It's a father that he's never known.
Cool. They're going to live together. They're going to have adventures together, and all that shit. And then Sirius falls through the door, and it's devastating. It's
killed by his cousin, killed by his own cousin as well, which is where you find out the kind of how incestuous the pure blood kind of thing is with the magical world. You know, it's which you find out with Voldemort's family in the next.
All bets are off then as well. You watch it and you think, I mean, Cedric
anyone
was bad,
can die now.
But all bets are off when she does that to Sirius, and you're like, literally nobody is safe. That's when I did genuinely believe, especially when you saw that there was maybe something developing with Ron and Hermione, that she would kill Harry at the end. I genuinely thought she would.
Who?
She was going to kill Ron. I think was originally she wanted to kill Ron, but she changed her mind about it.
Who?
J.K. Rowling.
All right. I mean, who? Was
not Bellatrix. No. That they were going to
just
kill
as a character, like she was just going to kill him.
I wonder who she had in mind to kill him then.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Well, it could have been instead of Fred.
I mean,
maybe that was going to be Ron.
I'm really, I love the fact that this book does end with the main people in play that you need to, to feel good. But if they'd have killed Ron, that would have been some pretty fucking amazing chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be
What do you think?
Wow.
I
Yeah.
mean, these books did move me to tears.
Oh,
quite a few
several times.
when people that you love die, and we've only just scratched the surface because now we're into the world of death. There's no turning
now
back,
we're
right?
in some deep shit now.
Yeah.
And we're gonna need to a month's break before we can talk about any of it.
And a lot of it comes to light as well when they come back and they have that kind of usual Dumbledore and Harry in the office having a chat, and this is just where Dumbledore is just apologizing profusely to Harry because he got it wrong. You know, I should have trusted you. I should have given you more information. I should have told you what was happening. I was trying to distance myself from you because I knew that connection that you had with Voldemort, and I didn't want, because there was a moment earlier in the thing where Harry felt like he wanted to kill Dumbledore.
Yeah.
You know, and it was like, listen to me, but it was all channeled through Voldemort. It was all about that connection between them both. So then Voldemort appears in the Ministry of Magic, and he and Dumbledore start dueling, and Voldemort managed to get hold of Harry and managed to possess Harry.
Yeah, that's creepy, that bit.
It's really creepy. But basically, Harry managed to muster up the courage to talk about love. And I've got something that you'll never have, and it's friends, and it's love, and it's people that care about me. And it's this thing that's more magic than magic, and it's the magic of love. The thing that kept him alive when that made him the boy that lived. The thing
I'd like to see the sillier answer from Voldemort there. Like, you know, I'm just going, I've got love. I've got love as well. I've got friends. They're all, look, all my friends. They love me, right, guys? You love me.
We're getting pizza later.
No.
Getting pizza.
But yeah, it's a fucking banging. Why don't you think about all the shit that happens in this one? It's an absolutely banging story. This one, it really is great.
In the books, they talk about that moment with Harry and Voldemort, though, that being the most severe pain that Voldemort has ever felt. When Harry kind of half possessed Voldemort at the same time. So yeah, it is interesting, but it's a brilliant book. I absolutely love the fifth one. It is awesome.
It is a good book.
It is. It's a great, and it's just the setup, isn't it? It's that setting you up for the next movie as well. You're like, oh Jesus.
I'm listening to Big T. I'm taking it in, Big T. Taking it all in.
It's just learning so much.
I am.
But yeah, it sets you up. From this film, you're thinking, Jesus Christ, this is going to be a dark start to the next book, and it is. Yeah. Everything's
lo and behold.
Yeah. So just to touch on where we're going next from here, we've finished Order of the Phoenix, and the next one, you've got Dumbledore showing up with his black wizened hand.
Yeah. You get introduced to Horace Slughorn. You get introduced to the Slug Club.
There's the ending that absolutely drove me mad in this film that I hated, and it made me so upset.
Oh, we didnn't get there today. You're gonna have to store. You have to
got so upset.
For the next month.
Hold on to that pain.
Furious. I will. I'll never let it go. Not even after I've talked about it with you.
Well, listen, Lummy, do we have any other comments, Lummy, before we finish up tonight?
No, there's nothing else.
We've gone through them all. Fantastic. Well, listen.
Fucking hell from someone.
We got that.
That's what Big T said.
That's what he said in cinema.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching the show today. We didn't quite get as far as we wanted to, which means that in part 3 and maybe part 4, because we've still got an awful lot to get through.
Think about it, makes sense because the books are getting bigger. There's obviously
you could literally kill a man with the size of these books now.
Yeah. And
so the next part,
and I guarantee you, we're going to remember 3 or 4 things that we've forgotten from
the next episode in a month's time. When Nat comes back, we're going to do our special Harry Potter special part 3. We will look at the Half-Blood Prince and we will look at the Deathly Hallows. Nat, thank you so much for coming on the show.
It is always a pleasure.
Is there anything going on that anybody can check you out in? Any podcasts? Are you improvising anywhere?
Come and see the Discount Comedy Checkout. If go to the website www.discountcomedycheckout.com. See where we're gigging. Come and see us. We'd love to see you.
We're in Hull on Friday.
Hull Friday, Fenton Saturday. Come and see us at the Fenton if you're in Leeds. Come and buy some tickets to see us. And then check out the podcast.
I'm not gonna go to the one down the road. I'm gonna go to Hull.
Go to Hull. Yeah, for a short piece of bit of action. Yeah. And then check out the podcast.
Where can we find the podcast, Natalie?
That any streaming service, get yourself on whatever it is that you stream on. It's again just Comedy Checkout, Discount Comedy Checkout podcast. It's hilarious. It's great.
We've had information from you asking you about this sort of stuff than we have from Chris in 30 episodes.
I don't like to go on about it. That's why.
Webby, is there anything you want to say before we disappear for a week?
Go watch some discount comedy shit.
Awesome. Lummy, what's going on? It's not hospital radio, it's box office radio. What's going on at box office radio?
Tomorrow night it's a regular show, one of my regular ones. So 8 o'clock. It's not a special tomorrow. It's just a bit of a mixed bag of stuff. Yeah. So check it out. Box Office Radio 8 o'clock on your device or on the website boxofficeradio.co.uk.
Fantastic. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching the show. If you're a first-time viewer, please come along next week. It won't be a Harry Potter special, but we will be talking about all sorts of geek news, and we'll do a film retrospective, and we'll have a round of best or worst, or best and worst. Please feel free to go to our YouTube page, It's All Geek to Me. Go to our Facebook page, It's All Geek to Me, and then go to our Twitter feed and give us a follow at It's All Geek Twit. But Lummy,
I did have one more thing I forgot. I just remembered. Sorry. There's going to be some for the Free Fringe Festival, Edinburgh Free Fringe online. We're doing some special prequel, sequel, requel episodes. So look out for them on the pages.
Wow. That sounds awesome. Cheers, man. Well, that's brilliant. We will definitely take a look at that. But, ladies and gents, we'll be back next week at 7:30 with our usual show, and we will be back in 4 weeks' time with the lovely Nat to do our special Harry Potter special part 3. But for now, for me, for Dexter, for Lummy, for Nat, and for Webby, this has been It's All Geek to Me, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Thank you. Love you. Thank you.